Hello and welcome back to Elite Dangerous. The latest version of the beta's come out, just the standard beta, and everybody's reset back to having 1000 credits and starting in a Sidewinder. So we're going to take a look at the game. Now I have been playing it already. If you have a look at my balance here, I've got over 1 million credits. But I've gone back to the Sidewinder, and so if you were new to the game, this is where you'd be starting. You'd be sat in your Sidewinder just outside Azaban City. So what we'll do, we'll just have a quick talk over a couple of the changes since the last version of beta. One of the big ones is fuel has now been introduced into the game. You've got a fuel meter just, I'm trying to see if I can zoom in on it. It's at the bottom right of the screen there. So fuel's been introduced, and that makes a big change to the game. You've got two fuel tanks. You've got a main one and a reservoir. The main one is used up when hyperspace in between systems, and your reservoir is used up while supercruising and just flying around. If we take a look at the galaxy map, let's get up there. There we go. So another change, if I zoom out, is there's much more space available to play in now. This circles our bubble of space we can play in. We've got around about 55 systems, I believe it is now. Much more space to play in. And if we go back, so there's me, I'm in Erenin, and there's now lines that are on by default. These blue ones that are solid indicate systems you can jump to in one jump. The ones with the dotted line indicate that you can get there, but they require multiple jumps. Grey ones, you can see here, there's a grey one from Morgor to BD, whatever that is. That means you can make the jump, but not with a full cargo. As things stand now, anything you add onto your ship, whether it be cargo, extra weapons and equipment, they all add weight, and as such reduce the distance you can jump. You can handily use the slider and to increase and simulate your cargo that you're carrying, and you'll notice the grey dotted lines disappear as I increase. So with 2 tons of cargo I would be able to make this jump. As I increase to 3 tons or more, I can no longer make that jump. Takes a little bit of getting used to, but it's actually quite an interesting gameplay mechanic. And in the starting Sidewinder you can't make that much headway with regard to travelling through space. It's got quite a limited range of around about 6 light years. Right, so that's the changes there. The other change is you now have to find things in space yourself. So if we look at our navigation panel, by default we no longer have in there, for example, the Federal Distress Signal. It's up to you to go out into space and find things. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to basically, and I'm cheating here because I've already found it. What we're going to do is fly towards Erenin 2. So there it is.
Drive charging. 4, 3, 2, 1.
So as we're flying in Super Cruise, another thing that's changed is players are now visible in Super Cruise. So for example, there's somebody over here. So if I target that person, they're in a hauler, and that's another commander, and you'll see multiple people while flying around in Super Cruise, which is quite cool. So, that's the wrong thing, wanted Erenin 2, so we'll head back to that. Takes a little while for your speed to build up, but once it gets going, should start zooming in quite quickly. Now as you can see again, if you look at the bottom right, it gives you a fuel indicator, and at the minute we're using 10.4 I guess litres of fuel per second, and you've got the dotted bars underneath, that's your hyperspace fuel. And there's a much thinner bar above that. That's the fuel that we're currently using whilst in Super Cruise. Now, as we're cruising around, you will just kind of come across, I forgot what they actually call them, but it's like incidents in space. Unidentified signal sources, I think they're called. And you can pop out hyperspace into them and see what's there. And as we get closer to Erenin 2, we will discover, hopefully, the Federal Distress area, where we can go in and earn a bit of money. Right, so we can see things popping in now, so there we are, there's the Federal Distress Signal, so we're going to target that. There's also the high conflict zones around Erenin 2 as well. Now this is not a bad way, if you don't mind combat, this is not a bad way to make money when you first start out. What you do is basically head to Erenin 2, drop out into the Federal Distress Signal, and do what we're going to do now, which is choose Erenin as your side, kill a few baddies, and then make money. So we're about ready to drop out. It can be a little bit buggy still entering and exiting between Super Cruise and hyperspace, and so hopefully this drops out shortly. There we go. Right. I'm just going to have a little look and see what's what. It can take a little while to pop in. There we are. So, we do have a Viper in here. Now, that's another player. I can tell because on the radar he's see-through, he's hollow. So the solid ones are NPCs and the hollow ones are real players. Now if I pick the wrong side, i.e. the opposite to him, he's going to be an enemy to me. Oh, it looks like he's possibly gone anyway, which is a relief. So what we're going to do is go along to functions, choose faction, and pick Erenin. The reason I'm picking Erenin is because we hand in the Vultures for any kills we make at this current station. I'll explain more as we play. So let's see if we can get a couple of kills.
Target shields offline. Target destroyed.
So I'll just rack up 2 or 3 kills.
Target shields offline. Target
right,
destroyed.
we've got one more.
Target shields offline. Target destroyed.
Right. Okay, that'll do for now. So what we've done, we've killed 3 enemies. And if we look over in our missions tab, we've got, in effect they're like vouchers, we've got 3. Now we don't have that money yet. What you need to do is travel back to the correct system and hand those vouchers in. So to do that here, because we picked the Erenin side, we need to head back to the Erenin station, which is Azaban City. So we're going to head there.
Drive charging. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Alright, we're off and running. There's a wanted commander there, but we'll leave him alone. Now the other thing that I'll just mention as we're travelling towards the station. Now whether it's a bug or a feature, I'm not sure, but what I've noticed is if you disable flight assist and then boost, whilst your flight assist is off, you maintain the top boost speed. And I will show you that as we approach Azaban City to dock, because basically it means if you turn off, point it in the right direction, turn off your flight assist, hit your boost once, and then leave it, you'll fly in much quicker than with your flight assist off. And it's at the minute quite a handy way of getting into the stations a bit quicker. Right, so we're coming up on Azaban City. So we can see another player's approaching it as well. Come on. There we go. Right. Okay, to try and explain what I mean about this flight assist off feature slash bug. If I throttle up, so basically I'm going to put full power to engines and I'm going to throttle up. So my max speed tops out at 220. Now if I hit boost, I'm I'm going to go up momentarily to 306, but then my speed comes back down again. Can you see that obviously the speed's decreasing? Now if I disable flight assist and now boost, it goes up to the 320 and it stays on the 320. So I can approach the city, the station, sorry, at the full 320 speed. Obviously you've got to leave the flight assist off, which means for some people it's quite hard to control. But it's I quite like it. I hope it's a feature rather than a bug, because I'll be quite upset if it's a bug and they fix it. So we're close enough to request docking.
Request granted.
And you noticed with flight assist off, you're travelling in one direction and I'm rotating the ship to face a complete another direction. So now what I'm going to do is about now turn flight assist back on. Obviously our speed will decrease, but now we're travelling in the right direction. So it's quite a nifty little way to get in. Right, so we want landing pad 43. I'll gear down. Right, landing pad 43 is over there. Yeah, we're docked. So,
disengaged.
we've been to the Federal Distress Signal, we've killed some ships, we've got some kill vouchers. What we need to do now is hand them in for the actual money. So you go into your Starport Services, and you go to Contacts, and it's Local Security Office, and that's where you redeem your vouchers. So we've made nearly 1,000 credits there, just from killing a few ships. So it's definitely, if you don't mind combat, even with your starting Sidewinder with two Class 2 pulse lasers, it's a great way to go and make a bit of starting money. Right, so I'm going to leave the video there, and I shall catch you for the next one. Thanks very much, bye.